Hey guys, welcome to the Rock and Road Show. And the star's feeling pretty good because he knows we're going to go swimming here pretty soon, aren't we? Yes, we are. Is that your favorite thing to do, Sundance? Sundance like to go swimming? Oh, that's what I thought. And you like chasing. I know. And you like chasing frogs? Is there a frog? Where's the frog at? Where's the frog? And I know what else Sundance likes. Sundance likes, let me see, snake. Is there a snake? Where's that snake at? Where's it? Do you see a snake? Do you see a snake? Where's he? Where's that bad snake? That's right. We better look for that snake and be careful, huh? And don't let him bite us, huh? And we're going to do our favorite thing, right? Sonny, do you know? Pew, pew, pew. What are you supposed to do? Bang, bang. What? No, that's not it. Bang, bang. Bang. No. Bang, bang. You're supposed to roll over. That's right. Oh, bang, bang. You got to roll over. He won't do it today. He's being an ass. Okay. All right. So here's part 2. I'm going to work on this as quick as I can so we don't lose our light because a certain someone needs to go take care of, fishing and hunting and things. All right. So here's an old antique piece. I can tell that it's old. I can tell it's an antique. Do you know how? One of the first things you do is you pick it up, turn around, show it to the back. On the back side, there's no maker's mark. There's a long story on that. Someone brought that subject up with me recently. They wanted to fight and argue with me about it on eBay. Wrong answer. I'm older than them. I grew up on the Navajo Indian Reservation in New Mexico. I am part Hopi. I do have my PhD in forensic archaeology. I did live and travel all over the world. I know more about Native American Indian jewelry than most people I've ever met in my entire lifetime. I ended up with friends with famous designers, developers, and makers of the Native American blankets, stuffed animals, jewelry, necklaces, mining, stones, carvings, weavings, rugs, hogans, you name it. I lived there. I learned it. It was my first business when I was a kid in the 1980s. All right. So the other thing about telling age, for me as a professional, I have other things that I look for that I do. I've already mentioned on another show. You'd have to pay attention if you really want to know it. Otherwise, I'm not going to tell it to you because I'm not going to reveal everything because I don't want somebody now taking and writing a book or doing more shows of my show and claiming them to be theirs. Because that just happened to someone I know who has a really good weather show. Someone's copying their stuff and pretending that it's theirs. Alright, on this piece here, when I got it, I love the coloration. That was just me. That's what I liked. I like the colors. Native American Indians call this color here robin egg. It was also called sky. And I talked to you about some of this in some of my other shows and told you that one of these days when I have the time and I have the piece, I will show you sky. And I'm showing it on this other color background so you can kind of get an idea of the type of blue. And I'm using this lousy piece of crap iPhone 15. Yeah. Oh, what a piece of junk they are. My 13 was much better and my 8 was awesome. Maybe somebody will bless me and send me an iPhone 17 that's new, not hacked. All right. Okay, so yeah, I know you probably want to ask, what color are these ones? Well, they're turquoise. Yeah. And they don't have a very specific name. But this was kind of important because this type of blue here was called sky or robin's egg. Now, in the 1960s, it became extremely popular for white people. Yeah. And they only wanted pieces without what later on became nicknamed spider web. Yeah, what happened was the Native American Indians had a really hard time. Native American silversmiths and goldsmiths had a hard time coming up with natural rocks from the natural dirt, not having matrix or inflections in it. It's almost impossible to do. But white people decided sometime in the 1960s that they wanted a more perfect, non-blemished stone. Perfect. It had perfect in my squash blossom. Perfect. Yeah. So that's what ended up happening. And of course, the Native American Indians had to make some money, so they had to strive for that. This is not a 1960s piece, though. Prior to the 1960s, if you find a lot of turquoise without blemishes, without a lot of matrix in it, without spider web, without other multiple colorations, without other different markings in it, it's just because they got lucky, or they strove for that just for personal reasons, and they stuck with solid colors. When I first got this piece here, every single piece across the top was kind of a weird, flat, matte turquoise. And it almost looked like one solid turquoise color across the top. And I went ahead and took a careful chance and put it in some cleaner. I've talked about that before on some of my other shows before. You'd have to look around. I used a Dawn degreaser, which I kind of actually like. I didn't soak it and brush it for very long because I didn't want to destroy the stone. If you've watched some of my other channels already, my other shows, you will know I already talked about how turquoise, stop crying, can get very dry like a pearl or an opal, and you want to keep them moist. You want to feed your stones, keep them moist. You don't ever really want to put anything yellow or too fatty and too greasy on them. Cattle brains is pretty cool. If you have cattle brains and you have access to that, that's what we used on the res. And there are some other clear types of things you can use to keep your stuff moist. This particular one here, eventually after I clean it, I'm going to need to feed it, because I don't know if you can see it in the lousy iPhone. Probably not. That's a piece of crap. I was going to show you that after I cleaned, I was able to notice that the really old stones here that have been replaced are actually fractured and cracked. There you go, you can see it. See the tiny little hairline fractures and cracks? It's already starting to come apart and fall apart and crack everywhere. It's fractured. And actually both stones are like, these older turquoise pieces are like that. You have to get it in the light just right. Stop crying, I'm taking you. So I'm going to give it a little food. But we're going to go talking back about age. So when I first got this piece here, I personally liked the color. I personally liked, to me personally, because it's where I grew up, I like the story form. But I liked this because it's how I grew up. This is the colorations I was used to. And I personally liked it. That's just me. Everybody's a little bit different. After I got it and cleaned it a little bit more, but I noticed it right away because I have a sharp eye for this stuff, but especially after I cleaned it, I noticed that some of the stones were a different color just slightly. These guys here are more of a turquoise. I mean, if we thought about the word turquoise, and I hold it up to this blanket here, which was made by a Montana Native American group, by the way. It's more of a what you would expect for turquoise. And there's two of them, and they're not in line, and they're not exactly skipped every other one or every other two, like binary math or something. There's no pattern to it. So when I started looking a little bit closer, I could see that the bezel work on this particular one is very choppy. See that bezel work coming around that stone? Especially with the one next to it. That bezel work's not tight because that stone's been replaced. A lot of older pieces, you're going to see that, because most Native Americans were like the ancient Vikings and ancient India, ancient Nepal, ancient Turkey, ancient Tibet, a lot of other ancient cultures, probably the Egyptians. I wasn't there, but yeah. they wore their stuff for forever and ever and ever. They always wore it. You get something, you wear it, and you just never take it off. You just always leave it. You just leave it on. You go to the grocery store, you go work on your truck, you're wearing it. And it also helped if you were in the jewelry business like I am. I'm in the jewelry business now, so I wear it. And it's my advertising. People stop and ask me about it, and I said, yes, you can check out my channel on eBay. It's TEQUILAsunTRADING, all one word, capital T's. And then we'll stand in the grocery store and talk about TEQUILAsunTRADING. And or I'll talk about my stuff on, sometimes I'm able to advertise it on Facebook, but they're rotten, hateful beings over there, so they usually block my stuff and screw it up. So now I'm on TikTok, and TikTok doesn't manage to screw things up. And I'm going to open up and do some more platforms. And I'm on YouTube. And the YouTube, of course, you know, Rock and ROADSHOW. Alright, so I can see that they've replaced this one here and that one there because of the color and the skipping. And the bezel's not exactly tight and perfect. And you're going to ask me, well, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Were those in first before the blue ones? Or were the blue ones in first? Here's what I think. Even though I think that these are an older stone because I've started to fracture this true turquoise rather than the blue. My personal opinion is, and I was taught this, the bezels on these other blue ones are just so fine and so perfect and so tight, and they don't look like they've been jacked with or replaced. I would assume that the original robin egg or sky is the original color, and that somehow one got broken or fell out on these other two bezel spots, and they were replaced. This was something else cool I kind of noticed after I had the piece for a while, and you might notice that with some of the pieces that you might end up with. This last piece here was not even completely level with the others. It's down slightly lower. So that also tells me that someone older, an old fart like me, set the stone. So I think the blues were the original, the robin's egg, the perfect blues, the sky blue was the original color. And they had to find the closest match that they could. And what kind of turquoise do I think this is? Well, that's, I don't know. It looks a lot like Bisbee. It's definitely not Kingman that everybody wants to squeal about. It's not run-of-the-mill turquoise. Kingman was like going to Walmart. It is probably Mesa or King Mesa. To me personally, I have held Mesa, King Mesa, been out to the Mesa, King Mesa mine. And I thought that these end pieces that are older, I thought they were Mesa, King Mesa. That's my personal opinion. I don't know. I wasn't standing there. You can't always tell. You have to go by the age of the mine, the age of the piece, and you have to check it out, man. Just have to check it out. Okay, so I'm going to repair this piece here, right in front of you, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Because the last thing that you want is a rocking loose stone down inside your bezel. This one's pretty tight. It's not too bad. But if you're like me, I'm like on it real tough. Because I do a lot of stuff with my stuff when I wear it. I walk the dog. I work on the truck. I live a life. I go swimming. We've been to the ocean. We do all kinds of stuff. You know, when I can get there, we do. We go. I have to fix, you know, whatever it is in the yard. I'm going to take care of it. I'm not usually taking my stuff off. This is how I roll. All right, so what I did was what we used to do, and I was trained to do, is grab a matchstick. Well, where are you going to get a wooden matchstick anymore? You're just not. What you want to do is, and I've only got one hand, one camera here, so I'm not going to actually physically be able to repair this too much, but you want to press on the metal, which is nice and soft. It's nice, soft, smooth silver with your stick, and keep smoothing it, pressing and smoothing around the stone. and bring that metal up and press it up over the stone, up, 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 almost like making a pie. Did you ever make a crust on the bottom of a pan, make a pie? It's very similar. If you didn't, well, I'm not going to teach you that. No, I'm not doing a cooking show next. We've got enough fixing the truck and showing you outside, showing you road trip stuff and rock stuff and fossil stuff and archaeology stuff. And then I'm doing this jewelry repair, and I'm doing your Native American Indian history stuff. I think I got enough. We're not doing cooking. So maybe someday I get bored and I run out of stuff, right? And so what will happen is the nice soft metal, the nice soft silver is going to adhere really, really close to your stone. And a nice soft wooden stick of some sort, I just picked a twig off the ground. I found one similar to a matchstick, and that's what I'm using. That's what I'm coming up with. That's what I'm going to do. Will not scratch and harm that stone. I don't care what kind of stone you can have. You can even do those with diamonds. You can do them with opals. And if you make a mistake, well, then it's time to grab an old wool sock. I get pieces of old wool. We're not talking insulation from the attic of your house. We're talking like an old piece of wool shirt. Literally. Were you in the army like me? Well, then you got plenty of that stuff laying around you can't stand, right? Yeah. So just grab an old piece of wool, and you can buff later. You can buff your stone. And also, by the way, this is what I recommend for all of my clients on my YouTube channel, TEQUILAsunTRADING. When they buy from me, I tell them, okay, I got a trick for you. Ready? This is what you buff your stuff with. I don't use a lot of chemicals ever. I just did on this one because I was curious and I wanted to see, because they were all weird, flat blue. And I'm doing these shows now, plus I'm doing some other stuff. I'm doing more other repair. Yeah. And I wanted to look at it myself and see myself what was going on. Know for sure. And so I'm going to buff this silver later with this wool. And if you look kind of careful here, I actually buffed these 3 stones earlier, but not those 2. And I don't know if you can tell there's a difference. I could earlier, believe it or not. And it'll give it a kind of a nice shimmery sheen, and it'll look more like what's called gemmed turquoise. I'm giving you a lot on this one show. I wish I wasn't. I wish I could break this all up to like 6 or 7 different shows, because that's what this should be. But I'm kind of in a hurry, and this subject came up, so here it is. So don't feel weird if you get a repeat on this later. It's because everything I'm giving you this one is a really hot, important stuff. And don't copyright my stuff. And so the old wool sock you can use on silver and gold without damaging it and hurting it in any way, shape, or form. It takes a lot of burrs and rough stuff out of your fingernails. Yeah, and your stones. And it'll smooth that silver right on up and make it really nice. Okay, so this is an older piece, and I can tell because in the back it doesn't have a maker's mark. I can tell by other ways. You can tell by the way that it's put together and the twist of the wire. I already talked to you about the twist of the wire on another show. I told you a small story about the husband of a friend of mine that was a jewelry maker up around Shiprock, New Mexico. That he was the wire twister of the family. Yeah. And the sides of this one here are bar. This is called bar because it's actually bar silver. A lot of times you can buy. Yes, I know, Sundance. Stop crying about it. He's crying because he wants to go. Are you gonna do the? I want to do this. Are you gonna do what you're supposed to do, huh? What? No, you're gonna lay down, Sundance, and be nice. Okay. All right. So, doggy entertainment, middle of the show. It always works. All right. So, the bar can be and was available in trading posts. I've talked about that in some of my shows. And online didn't occur back when this stuff was made. Online didn't really occur, until like the 2000s. You can do mail order in like the 80s and 90s if you were desperate, but it was horrible. We used to try to make trips, and we would travel to the trading post to go get the stuff. That way you could see it, feel it, understand it, and make sure it was the right size and circumference that you needed. And and we would leave the house like once a week or once a month, you know, to go on these big trips into town. I still live life like that. And then go get your supply. So the bar silver was made for a really long time. I don't know actual years that they started making bar silver. I'm under the impression that the, small bar silver like this was made for a really, really long time, like sometime around the 1900s. You're just going to have to cry and just hang on to your panties. I'm going to take you. All right, so, but it didn't become, bar didn't become that popular until about the 1940s, because I think that's when it became more mass-produced and easier to get, right? Otherwise, you had to stay home and make your own. What is in the side of this bar silver here, these stamps here, we used to call those a mule shoe. Yeah, I'm not making this up. And they were actually borrowed and copied from the early Spanish stamps. And the Spaniards stamped their leather on their horses' saddles and bridles and headgear and stuff like that, and leads. And the whole stamp pattern idea came from that. And in the very beginning, and I actually own some pieces you might not ever see. I don't know, because I'm older and keep all my stuff in safe deposit boxes and safes. You might not ever see the extreme old stuff I have from the 1700s. Although I do have a 1700s piece for sale right now on my eBay, TEQUILAsunTRADING, but they're just necklace beads, the nail beads I was teaching you about before. And that particular piece is a true Spanish piece, but I have some actual real other Spanish pieces. And the stamps were bigger on the older pieces, and there's a couple of reasons why. Because A, they came from leather work, and B, it was easier to make a larger stamp than a smaller stamp. Right. This particular show you guys are watching right now is so chock full of information, it's going to blow your mind the rest of your life. So, with these stamps, I can tell an approximate age. I've talked to you, I think, a little bit about bezeling before. It says a smooth, little bit of sheet bezel, piece of flat metal around the stone, and then it has twisted wire, and that makes it a Navajo part. I believe in one of my shows I did with you guys, I've done a lot of other shows that never got copied, went over to my YouTube channel. I've done a lot of talking and stuff on my Facebook for 15 years. There was an old joke I used to do about Navajo and other tribe parts. And this is a big pet peeve of mine when I go on websites and I meet all these white people that think they're all an expert. They never grew up on the reservation. They didn't live there. They're not part Native American Indian. They're freaking clueless. And they've never done jewelry. And they do not know. And they try to fight with me and get in arguments with me, and they lose. So I'm going to give you an example of how you know that that's Navajo part. And I'm going to tell you why. Because there's a legend to this. There's a story to this, and this is how it goes. I grew up on the Navajo Indian Reservation, and we used to listen to the, the radio. Yeah, in fact, I used to work at a couple of radio stations on the Navajo Indian Reservation. I met Ben Nighthorse Campbell. He worked at the radio station next door to me. And he once offered me a job to go work at KENN Radio, which was the Navajo affiliate radio station on the edge of the Navajo Indian Reservation, for the Navajo Nation. Yeah, I got that job offer. I didn't take that job offer because I thought the job I had at the time was going to last and be a better job. I stuck with the white people and I shouldn't have. But we used to listen to the radio. Yeah, this has something to do with the story. And the Navajo would talk in Navajo. Estes no son, este, hese, ishta, and ishta nusa, Coca-Cola. Yeah, their commercials were just like that. So the Navajo have their own language and have their own style of jewelry. It's a mark. It's a marker. Like your truck. You can't put a Ford part on a Chevy truck. You'd have to bang it, hammer it, play with it all day long. It might fit, it might work, but why bother? Just get the right part and put it with the right stuff. You're not going to have a problem. This is Navajo parts. These are not Hopi parts. These are not Zuni parts. It's not. You can put this up for sale on eBay and talk all the smack you want to talk. You are wrong. You are wrong. Navajo stuff was Navajo. Hopi stuff was Hopi. Cherokee stuff was Cherokee. Blackfoot stuff was Blackfoot. Zuni stuff was Zuni. Santo Domingo is Santo Domingo, and it's not made any other way with any other parts by anybody else. Once in a great while, you might see a little bit of borrowed Navajo part on like a Zuni piece. Once in a while. Once in a while. Once in a while. I lived up near Yellowbird Mesa. I lived there. I lived there. I lived there. Okay? I know what happened. I know what went on. I worked on jewelry there. I bought and sold with my native brothers there and sisters. There was probably necklaces that came out of that area that were bought and sold to white people who thought they were Santo Domingo. They were not. They were made by the relatives down the road that were Navajo. But if you pay attention to the parts, you will know who made them, because a Ford is a Ford, and a Chevy is a Chevy, and a Beamer is a Beamer, and a Mercedes is a Mercedes, and a Land Rover is a Land Rover. They don't mix the parts. And if they do, it's on a rare occasion, because it was considered disgusting. Why would you go take your cupcake and go dip it in the creek and then eat it? Ooh, disgusting. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. But if you went outside and you dropped your apple in the pile of dog poop, would you taste it and eat it? No. That's kind of how these people lived, and that's how they felt, and that's how they dealt for hundreds and hundreds of years. You do not mix the twain. So, this is a Navajo piece. It has the early bridal stamps. These are bigger, so that ages this quite a bit older. The stones, some of these stones have been replaced. I can see the stones here. I got an approximate idea where they came from. Those mines are really old. I can see the bar here, and this is what's called the basket. This is a basket cuff design. This is basket. It's not as basketed as some cuffs, and I usually don't even buy basket. That's my personal feel. Me personally, I don't buy basket. This was probably made as a commercial piece, not as a private piece, because it's lighter in weight, even though this one weighs a lot. And oh, I'm not going to get on eBay and scream, oh, it's heavy. Oh my God, it's really heavy, and it's 30 grams. Oh, it's so heavy. It's 56, 58 grams, and it's so heavy. No. You know what? You just shut up. Go eat your bonbons over there on the couch. It's probably right around 90 grams. To me, you get a little heavy. Not too bad. Nothing like this one and more I've got. Nothing. When you're getting 100 and something, that's a little heavy. All right. So, this is, to me, not super heavy. It probably is to some whitey pants on eBay that's buying it. Or selling it and trying to brag about it. Or they get on Google, build a big web page and tell you stuff that's incorrect. Made up crap. All made up crap. I don't even know where they got it. I think they just made it up. It was made probably commercial, not for someone who actually sat down and made it for themselves all day long, every day. But it's been worn a lot because 2 stones were busted and then replaced. But they didn't even do the finish work here. But it's down lower, so they couldn't see very well. And it's a very good, pretty close match of stones. Somebody knew what they were doing. They didn't at least take a spider web and then put it in there. Yeah, and really mix it up. So I think somebody indigenous had it. I know somebody indigenous made it. And I think they probably made it for somebody that they knew. Or local shop. And I'll bet you right up near Farmington, Aztec, Bloomfield, New Mexico, Shiprock, New Mexico area. That's just my bet. Because this, I think, is Colorado, Nevada turquoise, Navajo made. I don't think it was probably sold in a Gallup store, but it could have been over by Whitehorse Highway. I suppose it's possible. And looking at the stamp work, the way that the whole entire thing is made, and the stories and the history and the stuff I just told you. And I own some other pieces that are very similar. And I've seen them and I wear them and I put them away and I wrap them up and I feed them and I treat them with respect and I treat them nice. Like my doggy. And I love them, I take care of them. Probably about 1920. I don't think it's older than the Depression. And we're not going to go into that story today. It's going to be another long story. And I've got more stories and more pieces coming eventually someday. And I will teach you more stuff. In the meantime, guess what? I've been on YouTube for about 5 years. Please click and subscribe. Evidently, after 5 years, YouTube is like face crack. They've managed to screw everything up. They have me only down for 18 subscribers after 5 years of labor. And I get maybe 1 like every 6 months. So something's really wrong here. And just try to bump that stuff up and I can keep this running and keep rolling and keep doing more. Don't forget to shop on my channel if you like my stuff. And there's more stuff coming. I just need the time to do it because I'm old now and I have cancer and I'm tired. I'm very, 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 very tired all the time. And people just don't understand that. They don't get it. And I do have some ways to donate if you just feel like donating for the classes that you're getting and the knowledge that you're getting and the storybook flavors and everything that's going on. If you just want to help out an old lady that's a senior disabled veteran, great. Oh, and the dog is for rent. So he's going to do his thing too. And he's nice and he's pretty and he's rare. And he does know how to play cowboys and Indians. He's just being stubborn today. All right. So, have lots of love and peace in your life. Don't forget to care about the things that care about you. Take care of your life and your stuff. How's your turquoise doing today?